Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Sick Ride Nations, the Sick Life Podcast. My name is Joe.
And I'm AP Mark. Today's episode, we're going to talk about monopoly maintenance.
Monopoly, that's the term.
It is, because that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're monopolizing, just maintenance. They get you into these cars, and then they tell you got to come here to fix it.
Well, let's pause on that real quick.
Okay.
Over there, because we've been out and about, right,
Yep.
the last couple of weeks, and we've been around to a couple of different shows. One was Cafe and Octane, right, here in Atlanta. So let's kind of cover a little bit of that and talk about what we've seen and some of the stories out there, because that was a fun time.
Yeah, I think that was, let's rephrase. I know we've been to them when they were smaller situations.
Yes.
It wasn't as big as it is now and how it's growing. So, but yeah, it was kind of cool to see it.
I want to say my youngest son is 19 now, right? So probably about 10, 12 years ago, they were out on Windward. On Windward in Alpharetta, Georgia. So if you know where that is, you kind of know where I'm talking about, where the Home Depot is over there. And it was once a month. Everybody would get together. Way smaller crowd back then, but it was free back then. It's free now. But everybody in the local car community and bikes started to come. We would all meet up at Windward and talk with each other and enjoy each other's projects and cars. Even back then, and
yeah,
my sons would love going there. They wanted to go there to see what was new. It was just a fun time, a good family experience to go to. And then it got bigger, and I remember it flowing into, the parking lots around the surrounding parking lots, the Home Depot, there's a McDonald's and stuff like that right there.
Yeah.
So it kind of flowed on over, and I don't know what the whole story is behind that, but I know there was some type of issue because of that, so they kind of moved, or whatever.
Well, I would think so, because once you get to a certain point and having so many cars and so many people, then it becomes less of a fun thing for businesses and becomes more of a burden. So I get it.
But I wonder if like the local businesses, right, even though it kind of spewed over, maybe they had permission, maybe they didn't, right? But how much more revenue, I've always wondered, is generated around the local businesses when you have such an event like this going on, even though it was way smaller back then, but even so, right, or whatever, you're holding up spots in, most of these businesses are closed that time in the morning, but as people start to leave and stuff like that, people got other stuff to do, right? So whether it's going out to eat, because these shows normally end around 11:30, 12. But either way, going to these events back then of Caffeine and Octane and then seeing what it grew into today is nothing short of amazing.
It was crazy. It's being held where? Town Center,
right? Over
at the mall.
Cobb.
Literally, you had a couple thousand people out there.
Easy.
Honestly, I didn't expect it to be such a big deal. I've heard of it. I've seen it before. But to have, and I just noticed, literally, thousands of folks, hundreds of cars, thousands of people.
Yes.
I was like, this is crazy. So it's something that we're definitely going to make a routine or get involved in one way or the other. Reaching out to the organizers over there and seeing what we can do, because being that we have the show and stuff, it may be an interesting piece to their day, because it's very passive in a sense. You show up, you park up, you're cool, everybody's walking around.
Right.
Simple, no big deal. You know what I mean?
I noticed some order to it, right? That they have few employees, not a bunch of employees
right.
running around for sure, but there is, I guess, there's a setup where it's like, they had a bunch of very expensive cars, Lambos. There was a Bugatti there, right. So as we were kind of pulling up, you would see, they're directing kind of traffic over there, and some areas were, solely, of course, one style of car, but then they put on like a little parade, right? So towards the end of the show, as everybody's lined up and stuff like that, there's certain areas where if you parked, they had signs you couldn't move your car until like 11:30, which was good because at that point when everybody's leaving, I've seen all the spectators that walked around the whole show lined up, and it now became a car parade leaving. So it's one thing
Yeah, it's cool.
to show up and walk up and down the aisles of the parking lot and see all these amazing different cars. There were some great stories. We got some interviews out there.
Yeah, that's the
To
cool
then
part.
it show a parade, and there was a lot of kids I've seen on the side of the grass areas and stuff like that didn't walk apparently around the whole thing, but got very excited when they seen certain cars passing them. And it was all in good fun. There was no. I see a lot right now of these takeovers, right? There was none of that. Everybody was calm, cool, and collective. Was willing to share their stories about their builds or the history about their cars. One gentleman we spoke to had an older Chevy pickup truck, 2-door, almost looks like an old Toyota Tacoma truck, but it's a Chevy, and they drive them a lot in Brazil. And what caught my eye of this older truck, one, it was immaculate condition, but two, he had, and it's sometimes it's hard to get your model of a toy car, but he had the exact model of his toy car, and it was just sitting on the top of his engine. There was no real crazy modifications, but it was stored properly, right? So that caught my eye for sure. And then just going around the car looking at it, the owner actually showed up and introduced himself, and that led to a great story. It's kind of a sad story in a way, but it was a great story. So just let you know, we'll post a clip up, a link to the clip, and you guys can see this little interview. It's only about 2, maybe 3 minutes long, but the whole thing on why he liked this particular older vehicle was because it was a sentimental thing for him. Back when he was a kid, it's a stick shift truck. It's a Chevy 500, and it's stick shift. So he learned how to drive stick shift on it. So that's one of the things that drew him to this truck later in years. But another thing was he had a tragic story about his sister being in the hospital and unfortunately passing away. And he was calling people to get a ride to the hospital before his sister had passed away. And he's literally running to this hospital. And he hears the truck, right? The same truck that he bought. He hears that truck. He knows the sound of the truck. Why? Because his dad taught him how to drive that truck because his dad owned a similar model or the same model. And he learned how to drive, manual in it. So, it is from Brazil. And the crazy thing is he only had it for about a year and some change, he said, so far. But he paid a lot more money to get it shipped from Brazil to the United States. And I think that's where a lot of us that are in this, whether you're in it with bikes or in it with cars, when we start to either want something because nostalgia or
The sentimental
sentimental value,
Yeah.
it's not just about the power of something or the look of something, right? And we're kind of willing to pay almost any price for it, so that way we could have it and it be in our lives.
And you'd
So,
find more of that. I mean, outside looking in, you always think it's about the car and the look of the car and what it sounds like and all the bells and whistles that you put on it and all that stuff. And we I mean, you do have that, right? But a lot of times it is about the sentimental value, what that specific car, what that looks like, why it looks the way it does, why do you own it, all that stuff connects back. And I think we talked about this in episode 1 where we said that at the end of the day, we grew up in an era and in an area that we would see what we want, and it's all nostalgic. It's almost like sneakerheads, what I mean? All these retros and things that we look at,
coming back.
and that what we want to buy, and we can buy them now, but we couldn't buy them then, right? Or it does take us back to that time. So it always has that sentimental value, and that's a lot of it for my shoes. It's the sentimental value, because I'm not a sneakerhead, because I don't know the sneaker stories the way that these sneakerheads know. But the same thing with these cars. It's like they buy these specific cars because they have a connection to the car, and what they do to them to restore it to an original piece, where it was, to modify it in a certain way, certain things, is always has that one connection in your sentiment in these cars. So I give it that. I mean, again, we look at things and we just see, the look of it, but talking to these people and getting what's and the whys is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. I mean, what about the guys, the two brothers out there? I see us like that.
Oh, with the blue bike.
Yeah, with the blue bike.
Yes.
I think they were heavy in like either close to 70 or over 70, and they've been doing this thing
ever
for years.
Ever. And I think so. They had a crazy bike. Got to look back at that footage because I didn't remember the name of the bike. But beautiful bike. They painted it blue. But we were talking about this front end because the front end was different than a lot of front ends that I've ever seen. Crazy expensive front end. I mean, they said 20, the front is like
he said
20-something K just for the front from the triple tree and the forks, right? Yep. So that's a lot of money, right, for anything on a bike. But it was more than just that bike, right? So they brought the bike to the show, but the brotherly love and the stories that they shared, right? They're older than us, right? They're 70-something years old, and they shared that they traveled this country and even the globe with each other. They learned how to ride bikes early on as teenagers, and then they just kept it as a passion going forward. And no matter what, they always figured out what shows to ride to together. Whether they're on motorcycles, they drive it across the country to shows.
Whether they're on what?
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles.
Word of the day
is Modi.
Okay. Cycles.
Just wanted to make sure. We're just saying. I'm just saying.
But that's their life story, right? Regardless of if they have wives and families, we didn't get into all that, but just the brotherhood.
But you see how quickly, when we stopped and looked at the bike, and then we just asked one question, and how quickly they jumped into their story, and it was almost like ritual for them. It was something that they pride themselves on, which I get it all day long. You know what I mean? Because I mean, we have elements of that, and as we're getting older, it's more and more, right? But that was the cool part in seeing their histories, and then how they were just they were smiling, they were laughing about it, they were talking about, oh man, this and that, and it was just like, wow, that's crazy to be in their 70s and still out there doing this thing and just chilling. You know what I mean?
They were vibing.
Yeah,
they were a different vibe by themselves.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I mean, Caffeine Octane has an aura in and of itself, but these two gentlemen, it was a different aura around them, right? And they love to talk about their experiences. They love to talk about the bike that they had and other bikes that they had and what they've done throughout the years.
How they sold cars to buy four more bikes. Because it makes more, like you got more space for the bikes.
for four more bikes.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good idea.
That's the logic that we have to.
I actually went home and was like, do I need my car?
Like,
do I really need it?
Or can I get
two more bikes
for another bike?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just saying. I like that Gen 3.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Gen 3, we got to get a Gen 3 for sure. So Caffeine and Octane, throughout the years has stories, like that, not kind of like that, but exactly like that, in all different realms, whether it's unfortunate tragedy to people that had this nice life and they just did all these things with each other, whether it's a brother, a friend, it didn't matter. But that's what you get from Caffeine and Octane. I think now where it is in Town Center, the gentleman Bruce P. I don't even want to try to pronounce his last name.
I wouldn't.
But he acquired it, and this is not a sponsored plug, but they got a podcast too that they started, Caffeine Octane Podcast. And one of the first episodes, you can hear the whole history of it. And I watched it, but I actually lived it, right? So it helped me watch that episode. And then now I understand the timeline and why it disappeared from Windward to where it is now, right? So, but Bruce is doing a really good job. Him and his team. Again, they got a very small team. I think of no more than 30 employees out there. And to control or facilitate a massive crowd that this event is, I mean, that is spectacular.
Now listening
to do
and
that.
I watched and listening to him, and his background was in marketing and events and stuff like that. So him getting into it, and this is what his angles was. it was just more of the event side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then having the opportunity in business to be able to acquire it and build it out. But his one thing, and I respect it, was that he said that he's not a gearhead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't know much about cars in general, or anything about that culture other than being able to put on a show, right? So and we said that's, I think, episode 1 too, is that we appreciate the culture. We're not gearheads and we're not mechanics. That's by far. I mean, we do
Outside
play
of boat on,
and we do
I could change brakes
yeah, we could do certain things,
and
right?
alternators.
And we can have certain conversations, but we're far from it. And that was even part of the reason why we started this, so that we can get into the folks that do know, and that, or who are just like us, who like the culture, who can participate in the culture, who can do certain things and want to learn more. That's us. So, watching him do this and then have one of the biggest shows, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's really dope. It's really sick to see it, because it's like, well, damn, we're not too far off. You know what I mean? It's like you have certain folks who look at it like, the authenticity and being able to talk, real mechanics and all this other stuff. And we're like, yeah, well, we're willing to have a discussion,
Right?
And we can learn from you, but we're not gonna sit here and compare what size motors and horsepowers and all this, turbos and all that stuff. And we're not even gonna front about that. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, we're not. But the thing that I like about that is, this is all age groups, right? So when I see the next generations coming up and they're going to events like this, and again, I can't stress more enough, the free events that is so big like this and can bring children's smiles, it will spark their interest to keep this moving forward, right? So you don't got to be a gearhead, but if you keep showing up, you might turn into one.
Sure, man. Right? Or not.
Or not,
Either
right?
one.
We all got our lanes. I'm going to stay in my lane for sure.
That's right.
I am not breaking open a motor. Nope. That will go to a mechanic shop real quick.
Listen, but I mean, we good? We're done with that? Because
yeah, so he's got something pressing on his mind.
Yeah, I do.
There's something that
is
tickling his fancy.
This is the thing, and I know you
This
know
is a
you know
problem.
more about it and the details of it all. But I'm telling you, this whole concept of monopoly maintenance and
hold on, say that again. I want that.
Monopoly maintenance.
Monopoly maintenance.
Understand? You heard it here first. Monopoly maintenance, meaning that you buy a car, and then you're locked in to that manufacturer or to that dealership to have to do all your repairs, to get all your parts. You can't do this, you can't do that. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So okay. So there's been a story a couple years ago that I've seen with a gentleman called Rich Fix, right? And he's a YouTuber. He's got a lot of followers. You can follow him. But I followed him a couple years ago because he had a Tesla, and Tesla denied selling him parts, right? So he buys a car, he buys a Tesla, and it breaks, right? And then when it breaks, they don't want to sell him the part, but they want an absurd amount of money to fix this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and he's like, no, there's no way. So what he then starts doing is figuring out how Tesla builds, right? He's a mechanic. He knows.
So he reverse engineered the car?
Yo, did he? Mm-hmm. In a bunch of different ways. But it didn't just start there, because if I looked at his videos right throughout the years, it was more of, you can't buy a headlight from AutoZone or from Riley's or whatever normal,
do that anyway,
but okay. Either way, even if you was to go to a dealership, you can't buy a Tesla part. You have to take your car to Tesla and for them to fix it. And that was what an ER at that one, because he's about to point it out. It's all right. Tesla.
Is it Tesla or Tesla?
It's never hard ER.
Okay.
All right. So listen. So what we got to be doing here is this: when we go, message. When we go, so he goes up against Tesla, and they don't want to sell him none of the parts. So then he starts going on eBay into junkyards or Copart and buying totaled Teslas, right? So now he has his own little warehouse. They wanted to stop that, right? So he couldn't help people find parts or sell people another headlight. They had to go to Tesla to do it. But then when his car got messed up, he fought them and he reverse engineered his car from everything. He shows all the videos of what he's doing and stuff like that, where he laid out the whole electrical system. He laid out parts, everything to understand how it's all built, right? And then Tesla did a cease and desist, and they wanted to shut it down. Well, my man took him on, and he went to court, and it's all on his YouTube. But pretty much, he's out of the state of Michigan, and Michigan has a law where you can fix your own car, right? But you have to have, it's a weird rule where you have to have the same tools, mechanical tools, as the dealerships. Mm-hmm. Well, Tesla don't got a dealership.
That's right. It's like you order everything online.
Right. So because of that, there was a nice loophole, right?
But this is my problem. Okay, so let's say I buy a Tesla, which I would, but right, I buy a Tesla, right? I go and I gotta get it fixed. Who am I taking it to if they don't have a dealership?
Tesla.
Where?
That's the thing. They just have a warehouse.
And then what do they do?
And then their technicians take it in, and you can't. Apparently, in a lot, I visit the one here in Georgia that's close by us. They have a showroom floor, but they don't have a waiting room for anybody that is getting their car maintenanced. Right now, I own a Subaru. I go to Subaru. They got a showroom floor. Don't make fun of my Subi. I love my Subi.
I'm good. I'd rather have a Subaru than a Tesla.
See, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right.
But so when I go to Subaru, there's a showroom floor, there's a waiting room, all of it. And you can get nice snacks. They got good snacks. Thanks, Subaru. I love my snacks. But either way, I could wait there while my car's getting fixed. You can't do that at this particular Tesla. Why? I don't know. But I'm assuming, even with a story like this, is because they accept the cars in and then they're going to tell you if this car is repairable or not. Now, that's the crazy part, because if I finance this vehicle and it can't be repaired, then what happens? I still got to pay on this, right? Is that an insurance thing? If it didn't get into an auto accident,
right?
Here was my other question about it. This didn't get into an auto accident, right? The battery, from my understanding, the battery went dead. It's like $19,000 to get a new battery, right? And they just wouldn't do it. No. So then what? Your insurance ain't going to cover that. They're saying they're not covering that, but yet you still got this bill.
And you have to come out of pocket $20,000 or $19,000 for your battery.
Right. Or you just got a big paperweight, right? But you're still paying this bill.
Ergo Tesla.
So, that was kind of the issue. So he looked up some, the state laws and stuff like that, which was great, and found a loophole where he beat Tesla. Right. So now he can... My hero. He buys, round of applause to that guy, because a lot of people won't take the time to go up against big corporations. Not that all big corporations are bad, but sometimes you got to be the one to stand out and do what's right. Right. So, but now on his platform, he shows people how to fix different parts of Tesla, shows them how to shop for parts of Tesla, whether you can find it on eBay or Copart. I've watched videos where he took a half burnt back Tesla and a half burnt front Tesla and chopped the two in half and put it together. My man has them figured out. But how much time did that cost him? That's the other side of it, right? Now, if you love cars, but everybody with a 9 to 5, right? You don't have that type of time. This is your car, right? So when we're talking about, what's your phrase?
What part?
The monopoly
maintenance.
Maintenance. So when we're talking about that, and I'm your average person that's not a mechanic or into the car world that has all this time to reverse engineer, a manufacturer's car to then rebuild it so I can have a car still, then it's like, what do you do? Right? The only thing you can do is fight the system over there, and that's what he did.
Now, is he like an electrical engineer or something like that?
I don't know. To be quite honest, I don't know what he is outside. I know he has his own YouTube. It's got almost 2 million followers. It's called
that's why.
Rich Builds.
Yeah. That's his 9 to 5 right there, breaking these things apart.
But listen, hey, it works. But thanks to somebody that has that, right? Because now just the general public knows that you know we have certain rights. Now he's in the state of Michigan, right? So I didn't look up if this was a federal law or a Michigan state law, right? But I would hope that there is a federal law that would cover the general public to be able to fix their own stuff.
Well, but there is, and I don't know it right now, and maybe somebody watching this may be able to comment on it, and we can look it up later. But there is a federal law that allows. That's why you have the AutoZones and the Napas and the Rileys and all those guys, because you're allowed now. They're allowed to aftermarket stuff. I mean, buy here, take it to a mechanic. Doesn't have to be Ford. That's why I say it's for them. They have this monopoly maintenance going on, and federal law says you can't do that. Like that's why you have auto mechanics on every other corner, you know what I mean, and be able to work on this and certifications and being able to buy parts here and there and not just from the dealerships that you buy your car from.
So but then I wonder about how other car companies do things, right? So if you know about Ferraris, we all know you got to buy a used Ferrari.
Is that real though? Is that true?
That's what everybody says, man.
Like,
listen,
you
I
can't
don't
go in this.
I'm going to tell you right now,
dealership and buy a brand new.
The way my checking and savings work, I don't have enough in either one to walk in a Ferrari dealership and accidents. I just don't.
Yeah.
So, but when you look this up, everybody says you have to buy a used Ferrari. Not that it's bad. I mean, that's going to cost you a pretty penny in and of itself. But you're buying a used Ferrari to then get on, Ferrari's list or radar or whatever you want to call it. And then when you're ready for the next step or Ferrari that you want, then you can go and buy new, right?
Right.
So how is that legal? Right? Even that, right? If I go and I win the Mega Millions and I want a certain Ferrari, right? And it's the newest
we get
one.
1 million subscribers, one or the other.
Hey, listen, I think we can get to 1 million first. If we can get to 1 million first, I don't even really like Ferrari, but I might buy a Ferrari. But let's get us to 1 million.
Yeah.
So, but, why can't I go and just buy that one that I want? Now I'm subjected to buying, maybe I would feel at that point, is it a lesser type of Ferrari, right? That I got to get into first. I don't know the hierarchies in Ferrari. Again, my checking account ain't set up to worry about that. I worry about Subarus right now. But you got that. But then look at Bugatti. The whole thing with Bugatti right now, right? What's his name?
Matt something, right?
Matt is the one that bought the car. So in case you guys don't know, I'll go into this car. Yeah, Alex G. Alex G. Somehow his Bugatti got crashed, right? So Bugatti then says this is totaled. Period. It's done with. So you got Alex Armstrong who bought the Bugatti to fix it.
Alex who?
Alex Armstrong?
Gonzalez.
No. I'm sorry. Matt Armstrong. I gotta get my names right. Sorry.
Yeah,
Matt Armstrong. I mixed the two up. So Alex Gonzalez had the car. It got totaled. Matt went ahead and bought the car.
Right.
Matt wants to fix the car.
Right.
But Bugatti went in their system with that VIN number and blackballed it.
Well, they totaled it out, right?
Yeah, they totaled it out,
it.
right? But you can sell the car, right? Obviously, Matt has it, right? So now if I buy, say, an average wreck car at Copart, right? Over there, go. But now I got the manufacturer saying, you can't fix that car.
Right.
I just spent X amount of dollars on buying this, but now, again, it's a paperweight because the manufacturer blackwalled it in their system, and now nobody wants to sell me. Even the dealerships don't want to sell me the parts for the car. Monopoly
maintenance.
Right? So
here we go with that. My thing is this. I mean, you should be able to buy, again,
Well, but are they trying to hide something? So that was my initial thought. Why would a company do that? And I think Matt just outed them because he has a series on his podcast over there. You can look it up. His name is Matt Armstrong. We'll post it to link to it. but now it's becoming a 5-6 episode series, right? So he has this, it's in the garage, and he's sourcing every part from everywhere, right? He's got a bunch of buddies and connections that he knows. Some of these parts are getting 3D printed. They said you can't 3D print the bumper. Guess what they did? It's 3D printed, my guy, right? But I think the one big thing that I've seen in the one episode was the airbag.
Okay.
Now, the airbag to a Bugatti apparently costs just over $100,000. The airbag. And they wouldn't sell it to him, right? Because the car's blackballed, right? So when he went digging and searching and stuff like that, somebody found an Audi airbag that looked very similar. And when they put them together, everything aligned perfectly, right? So is it that
and
the
Audi
cars
owns Bugatti, no?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I'm wondering if this is why this thing gets blackballed and they don't want Matt to fix this car, right? And get it running. Well, guess what? He did. Right? So hate to ruin the outcome.
What part do you think they're trying to hide though?
Well, let's see. If
we know that Audi, or at one point, I don't know if they sold it, but at some point they owned it.
So if I'm selling a $3 million, $6 million Bugatti, right? And I'm selling parts to a car.
And they're Audi branded.
And they're Audi branded in a Bugatti.
Yeah.
Right? Now,
the Lamborghini does that all day.
Right, but we did see this a lot, right? I mean, in my neck of the woods of cars, right? Hondas, right? What else do they own?
My neck of the woods of the cars.
Hey, I'm just saying.
Bugatti. Lamborghini.
He talk about that all day, not me. My checking the safe.
Yeah,
it's not there.
I mean,
but
not my cars.
But you see it, right? When we
woods.
look at older cars, older generations of cars that have, your reliable source, and then, like a Toyota and Acura, right? A lot of Toyota Camry parts are in Acuras.
They shouldn't be because Acura is Honda.
Did I just mix that up?
Yeah.
Okay, so then reverse that. Honda to Acura, but Toyota to Lexus. Lexus, there you go.
Yeah.
So, see?
Yeah.
I got to get my bearings straight.
Yeah,
but either
Lexus.
way,
Yeah.
but you see that a lot where I can buy a Lexus, something goes
Yeah, you
wrong,
do.
and I can take a piece out of
Because that's the parent.
the lesser car and put it in there, and it works just fine. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different name on it. But
Yeah.
so is that price gouging? Is what term do we put on that when we see that? Because I think what Matt just exposed on a $3 or $6 million Bugatti, however much this is, it is not all high end pieces in here.
Yeah, because you have an Audi airbag that you would replace in an Audi for, let's say, $5,000 compared to a Bugatti, same airbag for $100,000.
I mean, listen, I heard the come ups, but come on.
But that's all. That's
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all branding too.
Right.
How they do,
So, but it's a good look to go view and see now what they're doing. So they got this Bugatti running. It starts.
Yeah.
This thing looks amazing. They're not using the emblems. They got the whole inside done too. Beautiful interior going on. They did 3D print a lot of things as far as the front bumper and stuff. I mean, they got this car running. They got it back in shape. This thing is a monster over there. So Matt did his thing on rebuilding this and sourcing it, and he reached out and he lists all the people that kind of help and companies that helped him, which is awesome because they all chipped in and really, to me, teamed up as the small guy, right, going against a big corporation that's trying to do
monopoly maintenance.
Alrighty, so I like the stories. I like the episodes and the creativity, and it just shows how much the car community will go to make things right. Right when you see a wrong in something, especially when you're dealing with cars and bikes, the community will come together and figure out a way to make it right. And that's one of the things we always talked about and why we got on this podcast and what we do out there is because the car community, bike community will always help the community around them, their surroundings out in any type of way, whether it's school functions or anything else. So this is just another area of doing it inside of it.
There's definitely a brotherhood and a sisterhood in that community for sure. Because I mean, like-minded people and interest. I mean, it's funny because it's a big. How do I say this? I guess it's a big community, but then you have all the sub-communities inside of it, right? And then everybody looks out for each other. Prime example: a friend of mine's son. He's in the community, right? He's got this Infinity, and he had it all ready to go. And they were doing some work on it one night. And they were doing something with the audio. Next day, they go do a show. On his way home, the back end starts to catch fire.
Ooh.
Yep. So he has to park up and get out of the car. And it burns. My man's heart, everything, he's crushed by it. Because, he put so much time and effort into this car. And he's heartbroken over it, and I dig it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But his boys, the community that he was with, the place that they all came to him. You know what I mean? And that's what it's about, really, right? Because you find a brotherhood, you find that sisterhood, that camaraderie that's in this whole thing, because everybody can relate to their struggles. That everybody can relate to and appreciate the effort made
and the work.
Yeah, you know, so. Yeah, that's exactly why we like it. Yeah. I mean, outside of enjoying the ride and enjoying the vibe and enjoying the party and doing merch and what we do for business, it's that overall feeling and that being part of does for you as an individual. You know what I mean? So definitely a good thing. Yep.
So March 2nd, we're out of March. May 16th, we are at the convention show.
Oh, here in town. Yeah,
yep, here in town. So what you guys are going to see is we're going to start talking about shows that we're going to, and we're going to start like Cafe and Octane. We're going to be recording from there. Some will be podcasting live from there. Others will just be kind of recording for footage for the podcast. But if you see us out and about, the next one that we are going to again is the Convention Center here in Atlanta on May 16th. That's a night one, right?
Yeah. But it's not the Convention Center, bro. It's the Cobb Gallery, I believe.
Why am I getting all these wrong today? I done got manufacturers wrong.
Yeah.
I done got venues wrong.
That gives me purpose.
Keeping me on track.
Yeah. I'll be the fact checker.
There you go.
Yeah, for sure.
Message.
Yeah.
So,
got him.
But we're going to be out there. We're going to be out at a lot more events throughout the season for sure. So please, if you see us, normally we're in our gear for sure. We always represent Sick Ride Nation. So if you see us out there, please stop, say hi. We'd like to meet all of you, exchange information, have some of you guys as a guest on the show.
Yep.
So check us out. Until next time. In those good words, have a good one.
Peace, y'all. Until next time. Until next time, what, bro? Until next time?
I'll keep getting things wrong and he can fact check. We'll work it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, y'all.
That wasn't fucking bad, bro.